Today's topic is on simple interest. Simple interests. I want you to think about something. How many of you have a savings account that you put money into? Okay, good. Now, one of the things that you'll know about a savings account is when you give your money to the bank for a savings account or even a checking account, the bank doesn't have a box with your name on it that they save all that money for. Matter of fact, instead what they do is they take that money and they put it into a general pot of money, into a big vault of money. And someone else can go in and say, you know, I need to borrow money from the bank, or I want to withdraw money from my account. Well, the bank doesn't have their money just separated. So what they do is they go through and they take money out of the vault. Well, that could be your money. And if it's your money, they're taking your money. But as a thank you for taking your money, they're going to give you some money back. And that's called interest. Now, don't get too excited because interest is very, 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 very small. Matter of fact, you'll get lucky if, at the end of the month, when you get a statement with how much you have in your account, you'll see something that says interest on there. And sometimes it'll say 1 cent.
Whoa, dang.
I know. Whoa. Don't go spend it all in one place, guys. But it's 1 cent. But that's interest. That's what you're earning. Is a thank you for them allowing you to use your money. They're going to give you money back. But unfortunately, where we'd like it to be is like 10% interest. But it's usually not that big. Usually it's like 0.01% interest. So it's very small. But honestly, over time, and you have enough money in your account, that starts to add up. And over time, that can accumulate to a lot of money. If you leave money in your account for a very long time, at the end, you could be coming out with a lot of money. You start with $100 now in your account, and with all the interest that comes out, by the time you're 18, you might have $101. No, I'm kidding. You might have $115, $120. Or if you put it into it, there are accounts which are high interest accounts that you could end up, if you put $100 in, you could end up with $200 when you come out. You could double your money. It just depends on the type of account you use. To find how much interest you're going to earn, we're going to use a very special formula. I call the formula IPERT, which is I equals P times R times T. What IPERT stands for is the following. I is the amount of interest earned. I is the amount of interest that you earn. How much money the bank is going to give you to add on to what you started with. P is the principal. No, not the person who runs the school. We're not talking about Miss Hayes Reynolds. We're talking about the principal being the amount of money that you started with. How much money did you put in the bank? Or how much money do you have in the bank at the beginning of the month? That's the principal. R is the rate. The rate is usually written as a percent. So you earn 5%, 7%, 20%. But when we use it, what are we going to have to do to it? We're going to have to change it into a decimal. And finally, the T stands for time, but the time must be in years. The time has to be in years. So the question becomes, how do you convert if something says you get interest monthly? How do you convert monthly interest into yearly interest? And that's going to be the trick that we're going to talk about. Let's talk real quickly about how you convert something into years. If it gives me 3 years, it's 3 years, it's 3, it's easy, right? But what if it gives me something like 7 months? How do I make 7 months into a year?
7/12.
Exactly. All you have to do to convert months into years is you take the 7, or whatever the number is, put it over 12, and that makes it into years. So all you have to do is put the number of months over 12, and that will turn it into years. Okay? You will have to reduce it if possible, but that doesn't make a difference. Let's look at an example. And I think I'm going to type this because it'll make it easier for you to see. Okay. Arnold puts $580 into a savings account. Yes? The account pays 3% simple interest. And that's what this is. There's 2 types of interest. There's simple interest and there's compound interest. We're not going to worry about compound interest. We're just dealing with simple interest. So Arnold puts $580 into a savings account, and the account pays 3% simple interest. How much interest will he earn in what? In 5 years. Nope, not tears. Years. Okay. So, here's how we do this problem. And maybe I wonder if I can make that bigger for you. Nope, didn't work. Okay. So, how do we do a problem like this? Well, all we're going to do, and all I want to know is how much interest. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go I equals. What's the principal? $580. That's the principal. Times the rate. What's the rate? 3%, but you're going to write it as a decimal, so it is 0.03 times the time.
5 years.
And because it's in years, it is 5. So now, all I have to do is multiply all of this together. Start with the 580 times 0.03. So when we do 580 times 0.03, I get 17.4, but I still have to multiply that by 5. Multiply that by 5, and I get $87. So the amount of interest that I've earned is $87 in 5 years. Is that a lot?
Yeah, it's good.
For you, that might be good. Maybe not in the long run. But does that make sense? Okay. Okay. I want you to try this problem. So here's the problem. Jenny puts $1,560 into a savings account. The account pays 2.5% interest. How much interest will she have after 3 years? Okay, so what I want you to do is stop the video, pause the video, try this problem. When you have an answer, come back and we'll go over it. Okay, if you did this correctly, you would have said I equals 1,560 times 0.025 times 3. So I would start with this here by multiplying 1,560 times 0.025, and I'll get 39 times 3, and I'll multiply that times 3, because I'll do this here, and I get $117. Does that make sense? Okay. Now, let's look at one more problem here, because I want to see how well you do this problem. So, I'm going to type it up, and I want to see what you do. Ready? Rondell, hold on. Rondell's parents let him borrow $6,300 to buy a new car. The interest will be 8%. How much will he have to pay if the interest is or not the interest, but if the payments are for 15 months? Okay, so think about this. Rondell's parents let him borrow $6,300. The interest will be 8%. How much will he have to pay if the payments are for 15 months? Stop the video and try this one on your own. Okay, if you did it right, you would have said interest equals 6,300 times 0.08 times, what do I multiply it by? Do I multiply it just by 15? No, what do I multiply it by? 15 over 12. I have to do it in over 12 because of months. Now, watch the trick on how to do this. Simply start by multiplying the 6,300 by 0.08. If you do that, oops, I moved it. There we go. If I do that, I get 504 times 15/12. Now, here's the trick. Multiply the 504 times 15, and you'll get 7,560 divided by 12. Divide that by 12, and I get 630. But I'm not done. And I'm not done because it didn't say how much interest will he pay. It said how much will he have to pay. So I want the total amount he's going to pay. So what do you think I'm going to do? Add the 630 to the 6,300. So if you did it right, you would have taken the 6,300. You have added the 630, and you would have gotten $6,930. So if you borrowed 6,300, he was going to have to pay back 6,930. And that's how the world works when you borrow money. You have to pay more back than you actually borrowed. Questions? All right.